Life is not always about everything being perfect. In fact, often, most of the time, it isn't perfect. It's about focusing on what is going well and where you're headed and what you want to achieve.
Good evening, Australia. Welcome to the show. I'm Michael Kuzilny. Tough times never last. Thank you very much for joining us all these years. We've been doing this show for, I think, close to a decade. We've had some of the most amazing people on the couch, all very humble, down to earth and authentic. I find we've created such a selfish and fake world. You know, everybody's running around asking, how are you? Everyone's pretending to be happy. But the real issue is that, 1 in 3 people are depressed. I love the authenticity about the show. Tough times never last. Karina's on the couch tonight, a lovely lady who's gone through her fair share of tough times. She's been sexually abused. She's lived on the street. She's had abortions. She's had all sorts of problems. But we'll meet the great lady. Karina, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're happy now. I'm glad you're happy now, darling.
Yeah, for sure.
But it hasn't always been so good.
No, it's been a long road. I guess it all started when I was 2 years old. I got hit with a mystery illness, which people at the time did not understand.
Was that the tummy illness?
Yes, that was the chronic bowel illness. And it took many years.
What's it called, Karina?
It's called a slow transit chronic constipation.
Yeah, and isn't it amazing, folks? So many people suffer from some sort of a gut problem, don't they? I know I went to Bali recently and I've come back and I was saying to Karina, I have had it myself, this bloating for the last, quite a few weeks. It makes you feel very uncomfortable, but this has gone to another level. This has become chronic, hasn't it?
Yes, yes.
So running to the toilet all the time and feeling uncomfortable.
A lot of bloating.
Yeah.
You go from being very constipated to sometimes having the runs and that kind of thing too, because the medication that you have to be on, it can kind of build up and then have that side effect, but you have to do that, otherwise it won't work.
And Karina, have they found something, darling, to make it better, to stabilise that?
Yeah, the last 10 years roughly, I've actually been, the illness has got to a point where I can manage it and live pretty much a normal life now.
Where you look very lovely and healthy.
I'm very vibrant.
And it probably, when you do have an illness, it probably makes you take care of yourself more, doesn't it?
It does, yes. Yeah, you learn to appreciate health in a whole different way. I actually have a little story with my illness where probably would have been about 15, 16 years ago roughly. I had to go in, I've been through a couple of bowel disimpactions. I'm not sure whether you know what that is.
No.
It's basically where you go under the knife, you go into surgery and they have to actually remove the stuff because it's that blocked up. So I had been through 2 of those over the years, previous times, but this last one I went under the knife again and I had an asthma attack while I was under the anaesthetic.
That would have been very dangerous.
It was very dangerous. I could have actually died. But luckily, obviously, I'm here.
Karina, I'm glad you're here, darling. And it seems like your life has just been a procession of little hurdles, hasn't it? You've had a couple of abortions? I've
had 1 abortion, yes.
And you were saying there's a lot of protesters outside. And, it's a difficult time anyway for anyone who's had an abortion or maybe their partners. It's a difficult time anyway, isn't it, making that very heartfelt decision, for whatever reason. And I think everyone's entitled to make that decision. But then to have all these protesters out there calling you a scumbag and that. Is that what happened?
That is exactly what happened. I went there the first time to have it done, but I had complications because of my other illness. So I woke up after, I thought it had been removed, and they told me, because I was thinking, oh good, it's done, I don't have to deal with this again. And then they brought me out into the lounge and told me that, no, you're going to have to go through that again because we couldn't get to it. So I knew that I would have to deal with the protesters again. And it's really hard. That's one thing that I really want to say, which is it's all very nice for the pro-life protesters to be out there and express their views. But some people have very good reasons for having to go through that, and it makes it all that harder to deal with when they've got those people outside reminding them of what they have to do.
They're very good points, aren't they, Karina's making, you know. We can say, yes, you know, these bastards, how dare they? Or we can, vigorously follow a religion or a political party. But, I think the most beautiful people in the world are the ones who are just open to everything and attached to nothing. Open to everything, attached to nothing, and makes you then appreciate all the religions. You know, you don't sort of say one's good and one's bad, and we appreciate then that certain people have, need to go through that process and maybe have a beautiful child at a later time in their lives. Karina had, while she was suffering through her stomach condition, she was homeless there for a while, got sexually abused, but you ran away from home, Karina.
I did, yes. I ran away from home because basically things got on top of me. My mother was not supporting me. She would find me and my brother in the bedroom at night and making noise. It would wake her up. She'd come and see us. And every time it was just, what are you doing in here? Go to bed kind of thing to my brother.
Did your brother sexually abuse you?
Yes. Yes, he did. He was always trying to feel up my breasts. He was always trying to touch everything.
He was very inquisitive.
Yeah.
How old was he at the time?
He would have been, he's 5 years my senior, so it would have been...
He's a bit old, isn't he?
23, yeah. He's 5 years older than me.
And this was when he was young, or when he was, how old?
He would have been around 23, 24.
Oh, that old. Okay, so a bit of a dirty bastard doing that. Did you ever go up to him later on, just give him a good smack on the head or something?
Basically, at the time, I would always push him off. I was quite strong, so
We might talk about strong Karina after the next break, but we'll be back shortly. Thank you very much, viewers, for watching us tonight. We'll be back very shortly with the lovely Karina. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Michael Kuzilny, and thank you very much for all your wonderful Facebook messages. Check out our Facebook page. I think there's about 30,000 people on it now. We're getting messages from all over Australia, even from certain quiet parts of the US, you know. It just shows me that we're all brothers and sisters. We're all in this together. And I always think when we are going through some difficult times that it's only impermanent. All the good stuff never lasts, and all the bad stuff never lasts either. So if you're going through a difficult time at the moment, whether you're lonely, a drug addiction, maybe you've just gone through a relationship split up, or you're very depressed thinking of suiciding this week, just remember that it's all impermanent and that things do get much better. They really do. Our mind can take us to funny places. Our mind can be heaven or it can be hell. This lady, Karina's gone through some difficult issues, but she's smiling when I saw her tonight. She said, "Hello, Michael. I'm having a great time." And it wasn't always so great. You also got sexually abused by a boyfriend.
Yeah, an ex-partner.
How did you meet him? You met him on the street.
I met him on the street.
You said you thought he was your shining armour.
Yes, I did. I'd actually been on the streets for 2 weeks, and I met him at the food van. And he sort of basically took me under his wing, or so I thought, and looked after me for a while and showed me all the places that you go when you're homeless to get food and all those things. So he opened my eyes to a whole different world that I didn't know. I'd basically been hiding away in the Crown Casino toilets for 2 weeks each night.
God
so
bless
that I
you. You know,
won't get
you don't you think sometimes, Karina, that all the stuff we go through makes us so much stronger?
It does.
You know?
It's one of the biggest things that I've taken out of all of this horrible experiences is that I'm a much stronger and wiser person for it.
Because if I would have met you and I didn't know all this, I thought, no, she'd have no idea about being hungry or being homeless. But you've certainly gone through that. So how did you meet this knight in shining armour?
I met him at the food van, and he basically sort of chatted to me for a little while.
He picked you up?
Yeah, he pretty much
Did he then make love to you?
It wasn't in the first few nights, but probably a couple of weeks after we'd been.
And you fell in love?
Yeah.
And you hooked up? Did you move in together?
We did, yeah. About 3 months in, we actually moved into a house together, and he was working. There was a...
How romantic. Isn't it funny, folks? People, they meet at the food van or maybe on a holiday, or everyone's friendly, respectful. And then, people make love, they make out, and that connection's so stronger. And then one of the parties becomes rude, abrupt, and selfish, and that's why, people split up. And that's what happened in this relationship. You started beating up on her. Why is there so much domestic violence, I wonder, If I could just grab some of these blokes and, and make them realise that it's such an appalling... I've been around the criminal justice system for over 30 years now. I used to be a policeman the first 10 years, and I went to tens of thousands of domestics. Every Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, people beating each other. Well, it's always the blokes beating up the women, broken noses. I just feel like punching these guys sometimes, But you can't do that. So your partner, what was his name? Johnny?
His name was my partner.
Your first one, the bad one.
Oh, it was Greg.
Greg. So he was a badass. Put on the mask, and then I suppose once you show love to somebody, you sort of lower your barrier, don't you?
I do. I always do. I've always done that. As soon as I think that the person's safe, then I lower my walls.
And then they come in to attack. Yeah. They want to control.
Yeah, he tried to control me for a long time. And
oh, my God.
Not a person to try and control. So.
And it's not nice to talk about what he did, what physical, if we read a brief and you got charged, what would that brief say? That he punched you, he kicked you?
He basically bashed me continuously against a wall to the point where I was bleeding everywhere. The last time that he ever saw me was when he chose to take it so far that I had to get out. I had to get out of the house, and it was only lucky that there was a pub across the road that I could actually go to. So people looking at me standing there, because it was pouring rain, standing there, I was blood everywhere, all over me. I didn't even have my shoes on. I was just standing there in my socks, waiting to cross like a normal person.
Oh, God bless you, little one.
Sorry.
That's a terrible time, and he must have really beaten the crap out of you.
He did. He did. Yeah. I was lucky to be able to just get across there and away from him. I was just lucky that night that he got so, well, not lucky, but you know what I mean? Like, he was so out of it and everything.
And you couldn't even tell your brother because he was a sexual abuser as well. She couldn't even tell her brother because he sexually abused her. And she couldn't tell her mother because her mum didn't give a shit. Isn't that amazing? We've got family, but you can't tell anybody. Poor Karina feeling all lonely, thinking, I've been beaten up. And people on the street probably didn't care either. I think the most important take-home lesson out of these interviews is to show loving kindness towards others, not judge, but, forget about our own problems and just to reach out to others and find out what's going on in their lives. Because not many people do that. I bet you not many people helped you that night.
No. Even the police, when the police got involved, they just basically told him, don't do it again, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they escorted me back to home where I'd run away from.
So that was your ticket back home?
Yeah.
So how would you sum up your running away from home?
In the second circumstance or the first one?
First?
The first one.
Not good?
Not good, yeah.
Not good. You learned a few things?
Yeah.
How old were you then?
I would have been 23.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you say you ran away from home, you're an adult, so you just really moved out.
Yeah.
And you ran away again?
Yes.
What
Within
age?
basically the space of a year.
Okay. From mum and that, from
Yeah,
your family
yeah,
home.
from
Okay,
my
you
mum
took
and my
off. You
brother.
just had enough. So how's your relationship with mum now?
Still the same. I have next to no contact with
What
her.
a shame. I'd like to get you guys together to make a bit of peace, because I really think life's too short, folks, to not talk to each other, Reach out and be the peacemaker, But they say blessed are the peacemakers. So stop that nonsense if you're not talking to your brother, your sister-in-law, your mum, or your parents-in-law, or your brother, and just, show them a bit of loving kindness and make a phone call tomorrow. We'll be back very shortly with Karina. And thank you very much for watching, viewers. Love and best wishes to everybody. Thank you very much for being so kind. I know all our viewers are very kind. If you're having a altercation with somebody, or somebody said something to upset you, or they haven't paid a bill or something, and you haven't spoken for a while, even if it's a week, 2 weeks, maybe 5 years, like I said before, just show a bit of compassion. Blessed are the peacemakers. Some people just cross their arms and say, "Oh, I'm never going to talk to that person again," But that's really foolish and childish behaviour. Sooner or later we're going to think that it's all impermanent. Death will come and wipe us all out one day, some before others. In 100 years from now, we'll all be gone. Our viewers, everybody here, all gone. 100 years of completely new population. In fact, in 240 months, you'll be 20 years older. So, Karina, say hello to your mum tomorrow, okay?
Okay.
Send her some love, all right? And we'll love to see you both here on the couch one time.
Yeah.
Karina, I loved it when you walked into the studio before. You were smiling, I read your sheet and you said, I've gone through this, Michael, that, but you said you're happy.
I'm very happy now. I'm in a much happier place because now currently I'm living in a boarding house.
Yeah.
And it's a very safe house. I'm safe from anyone that I don't.
What's a boarding house? A few people sharing one house together?
It is, yeah. It's 11 other women I'm sharing this house with.
Wow.
So it's quite a large
Who needs
house.
friends?
Exactly.
But hang on a minute, are some of them real bitches in there?
No, that's the good thing. I've been through a few refuges where you've had some horrible people and there's nothing you can do. You just have to put up with them. But this house is a really, really special house that I've landed in because...
Who replaces the toilet paper? Because they'd run out so fast. I know at my joint, the toilet paper runs out all the time.
There is actually a cleaner that comes and
Wow.
does the main areas.
God, this is like Housewives of Melbourne.
I know.
Huh? What a good lifestyle.
I should be on a show like that.
And it's free.
The accommodation you do pay, but you don't pay for bills.
Wow.
So it's only the rent you pay for.
Can I move in there if I get kicked out?
Sure thing.
Be fun. You guys got Netflix there?
Oh, no, it's not quite that good.
But you got TV, Foxtel?
Yeah. No, just normal TV. Yeah.
Ah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And you've made some good friends there.
I have. I've got a couple of wonderful housemates that I've made friends there. And not only that, but I've made, by going through all the experiences I've gone through, I've learnt, when people are real and when people are
That's
not.
beautiful.
So,
and the food there, there's a chef, or you cook, take it in turns cooking?
you just cook your own food. The kitchen, there's a shared kitchen, shared bathrooms.
So it's cool.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? What Karina's saying is quite right. We don't always need everything to be perfect for us to be happy, A lot of people always have this conditional happiness, don't they? When I finish my degree, when I get married, when I have children, when the children grow up and we can travel again. It's this conditional happiness, and then people come to the end of their life and they think, God, I forgot to be happy, But life's really the journey, isn't it? I think it's in the journey, and even if you're in a prison at the moment, watching from there, and I know we've got a few people watching from the prison, or if you're in a hospital, if you're not well, or you're lonely at home, you can still be content and happy, even in that spot of loneliness or or being in a place you don't really want to be, because it's all impermanent. Things will change. Things always change. So, I've known multimillionaires, plenty of them are unhappy, and I've known cancer patients who've only got a few more years left on this planet who were happy, because they were meditating and they were just happy that they had a life that lasted for this many years, So we don't need... If we expect life to be 100% perfect all the time to our liking, we're going to be often disappointed, aren't we?
Very disappointed. That's one of the biggest lessons that I've learnt, is to be grateful for what you have.
To be grateful for what we have. And that's so true, isn't it, folks, that whatever you think about expanse, if you wake up every morning thinking about all the crap in your life, which we all share, no one gets a leaf pass on all the sorrows in your life, that's what's going to expand, isn't it? Whatever we think about expands. But if we're grateful, like Karina says, about just being in this beautiful country, Australia, having a body that works, it might not be, everything might not be perfect, and having a couple of good friends or contacts. We don't need too many, and we've got enough food and somewhere to sleep. Wow, and there's always beautiful places to go to, isn't there? And you met a beautiful man on the internet.
I did, yes.
What's his name?
A couple of months. His name's Joe.
Send Joe your love and best wishes.
I will. I certainly will. He's been a great support.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
And he hasn't... there's no signs of domestic violence there, is there?
No, I told him my whole story, and he's right behind me. He said, if I could get at your brother, I would bash the living daylights out of him. I said, I like you.
Now, I hope your brother hasn't done this to any other females.
Not that I'm aware of, no. That was one of my concerns in the early days.
No. So you really have the ball in your court, isn't it? If we went to the detectives now and made a report, they would probably go and arrest him, and your brother would go into prison, and he'd watch us from a prison cell. But you forgave and forget, and you're concentrating on the positive things, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm concentrating on the good things in my life, which
beautiful,
there's quite
Karina.
a few.
Well, that's beautiful, and you're finding that when you do surrender and think about the positive things, good stuff happens.
That's it. That's one of the things, the biggest things that I've learned is that if you actually focus on what's positive, even when there's other negative things, it just lights up what isn't going well in your life.
Wow.
Life is not always about everything being perfect. In fact, often, most of the time, it isn't perfect. It's about focusing on what is going well and where you're headed and what you want to achieve.
Gee, you're a good master of life.
I try.
Some really good life skills there, Karina. You've I think all those stories you told us about have really made you the beautiful person you are. And what's your advice to somebody who just couldn't be bothered waking up tomorrow, they're thinking, I've had a crap life, I don't want to go through another day, I might kill myself tonight. What would you say to those people?
What I would say to anyone who's considering doing something like that is life is too precious to be taking your life. No matter what situation you're in, there's always someone you can talk to, or if there isn't someone you can talk to, then you need to be strong in yourself.
Thank you so much, Karina, for coming on. You're lovely, and thank you very much, viewers. Love and best wishes. We'll see you next week. Good night.